Let's make our own barbecue sauce, infused with sorrel. It's the perfect thing to coat these deliciously seasoned wings. To make the wings, let's first start with a small bowl where we'll add garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, some salt, and then some adobo. The description box below will have all the full recipe details. You want to go ahead and mix everything together. I found that putting all the seasonings together in a small bowl like this first makes it much easier to make the chicken. Then I grab some wings I had already washed and pat dry with paper towels, and I go ahead and add some Caribbean green seasoning to it. As I've said in other videos, this is a collection of herbs and spices that really enhances the flavor of the meat. It comes in a bottle and you can find it at any international grocery store. Once I feel that I've mixed this all in well, I go ahead and add the seasoning to the meat. I do this sort of in batches, and I also try to mix it in kind of strategically to make sure that the seasoning doesn't just get trapped on my gloves. So I add a little bit at a time and mix it in, and then go ahead and finish off and add the remaining seasoning. After I've done this, then I actually go ahead and add the vegetable oil. I go ahead and mix this all together again, and then I prepare my baking pan. I actually do take a few minutes to mix it in well though, I just don't show it on camera. I'm going to be baking these wings on a wire rack that I lined with aluminum foil. This is just because I want cleanup to be easy. I go ahead and poke some holes in the aluminum foil because I still do want the juices to drain to the bottom. This is kind of what helps to make you have more crispy wings. If you don't mind the cleanup, you definitely can just bake directly on the wire rack as well. So the wire rack is set inside of a very large pan, and then I go ahead and lay all the wings. Each time that I lay the wings, I try to make sure to grab some of the extra seasoning there just to not leave anything behind. I also make sure to give them good space so that they're not touching. So once I'm all done, I'm going to set these wings into an oven that was preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to let them bake for 30 minutes. While the wings are baking, I start working on the sauce. It's a very quick and easy sauce. You start first by adding the ketchup to a saucepan, and then I go ahead and add the sorrel. This is just leftover sorrel that I had made to drink. You can find the full recipe video linked below. The floral hibiscus flavor really does elevate this barbecue sauce. Next, I go ahead and add the balsamic vinegar. This is important to really balance the flavor. Then for some sweetening, I go ahead and add some honey. You can do this to taste, but I do recommend 2 tablespoons, and that's what we use. So then I mix everything together and I cook it on medium-low heat to just bring it to a nice simmer. I allow it to cook for maybe about 10 minutes or so. I stir it occasionally during this whole process. This really is a simple sauce to make, and that's why I like it. I wouldn't say that it's an authentic Caribbean recipe at best. Let's call it a fusion, but it's delicious and I'm happy to share it. We really do love to just share the things that we make at home just so that others can make them too. So once the sauce has kind of gotten to a consistency we like, basically like this, I let it sit on low just for maybe a minute or two, and then I just turn it off and let it cool. I'll let it cool completely and then cover it while I finish off the wings. So after 30 minutes, I go back to the wings and I go ahead and take the time to individually flip each of them over. And once I have all the wings flipped over completely, I'm going to be putting them back in the oven to bake for an additional 25 minutes. After the 25 minutes, I check on the wings and I see that they're done. They're beautiful, nice and golden, so I take them out of the oven. I take however many we want to eat right now and go ahead and coat them with the sauce. It's best to coat them only right before you want to eat them. So I coat them with some sauce, and I also did set some sauce aside just to have as extra dipping sauce. I go ahead and mix them all together. If you wanted, you could set them back in the oven for about a minute immediately before you eat them, but we're usually pretty hungry, so we go ahead and eat them now, which is fine because they are ready to serve. And in just no time, you have delicious sorrel infused barbecue wings that were easy to make. It's best to serve the wings immediately after you coat them. Otherwise, you can just make the sauce ahead of time and keep it for later.